So as you're talking about this human element, it seems like it's more important than ever because we don't want talking about the tools that we have, and they have their own tools now to survey all the content that's out there and available, help them make their decisions and avoid these conversations. Basically, help them avoid human interaction. So there's a lot of dynamics that are happening and in play here. So what do we do about it?
That's a good question. So I always tell one story, which I personally love, because to me, this illustrates the problem that we are facing with regards to what you said. And that is, I've got a great friend. He's the chief data officer of one of the largest European companies, a very smart guy. And I asked him this question once a few weeks back was, how many people try to get in contact with you to sell you something? And he said, well, honestly speaking, I get a lot of emails, I get a lot of LinkedIn, but I don't feel I get a lot of people. So I get a lot of these emails that say, hey, download the latest and greatest Gartner white paper on why our company matters the most to a specific challenge. Read the latest benchmark reports on how our engine is faster than anyone else's. The problem is that they all feel the same and they all read the same. And at some point you just switch off. I think this is a great example. But what he said is, I don't get these sales guy that says, hey, I've been working with these many people across your organization. I've been doing interviews with those people. I've been listening to your challenges. I've been reading your annual report. He said none of that is coming through anymore because it's all very personalized, but it's all very automated at the same time. Every email is pitch perfect. There is no unique writing style. All are very eloquent. The grammar is perfect. It's just unnatural. So this to him, and I think this is a great example that I believe is universally applicable. It just feels like there's no one really interested in him as a person and what his personal challenges may be in basically overcoming organizational hurdles and obstacles to bring his career and obviously the organization forward at the same time. And I do believe that one of the things is that you got to do your research, you got to listen. And I think nowadays, Stephen, you know this better than anyone else probably, we rely heavily on playbooks these days. And our playbooks are made in a way that product organizations typically design sales playbooks. So everybody builds an amazing product and it has all its reason for existence. But to your point, people don't buy early in the cycle anymore. They buy late in the cycle. But if you swamp them with information, and it's not just you, but thousands of other people or companies, and they all feel the same way, it's very hard for a decision maker to actually make a decision. And what I do believe what makes a difference is that you have a human in the loop, a human that understands what challenges exist, and he can actually break out of this automation hurdle to a degree, or automation vicious circle, and actually get to know you, get to understand your challenges. And I think this is important without pitching your product too much, because it feels like modern day salespeople, they are not experts in their specific field anymore. And I know that I love MedPick, I love all these methodologies where be it certain different frameworks, and they all have their reason for existence, but they train you a little bit to be a robot and not to be, let's say, a good communicator anymore. So I do believe that it's very important to be genuinely interested, curious about who you're speaking to. That is something you have to bring across, whether this is a non-perfect email or a personalized postcard that works particularly well, or sending someone a cake or a video message or whatever it may be, but you've got to be the one that's making a difference and that's genuinely wanting to help you without just pitching your product. Because to your point, everything is metric driven these days and everybody has the best metrics. I worked a lot in the database space in the past, and guess what? We could literally invent metrics from one day to the other that made us look better than anyone else. And the market was relatively new, so nobody knew what was good or not. People were just basically comparing apples to oranges all the time. Nobody really knew what was going on. And nowadays it's even worse with AI and so many different technologies out there and so on and so forth. So to make a long story short, humans need to be in the loop. And I don't know how often I can stress this, but I felt that we lost sales a little bit. And I think what we have to change, and hopefully we will change that again, because AI is great in everything, but it's like my favorite example is you take a scientific calculator. Sure, you can do easy equations on it, but if it gets to the more advanced stuff, you've got to be an expert there to actually use the tool correctly. And it's the exact same with AI. You can get results fast, but they're not super results. Everybody can get to these results fast with some basic knowledge of how sales works. But I think the difference is trying to understand what the other party wants, how you can help, and also to qualify out fast if you can't help. Not to follow shiny objects too often, but to drop out as early as possible and to not waste anyone's time.